Thanks for your support as a channel member, Sparklebot. We're approaching the danger zone in this season, folks. We're about 6 months after the majority of these players signed, and I think I know what that means. I'm still open to speculation about how soon these players are likely to be stolen away from us, but I suspect either today or maybe tomorrow is when we're going to start seeing some of this season's stars disappear. None of them have gone yet, but I am nervously looking at the inbox every time the notification comes up. Hello and welcome to part 21 of the Bourne Legacy. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have games in the league against both Staines and Brightlingsea. Since you were last with me, as you would expect, we've been dominant. We're still in the FA Trophy. We're still in the Alan Turvey Cup, which we know is the one everybody wants to win. We're smashing teams all over the place. We did have a little bit of a slip away against Potter's Bar, but the league table looks thusly. We've still got 3 games in hand on the teams most immediately behind us, Harrow and Chertsey, but we are now also 8 points clear at the top of the league. So looking very good for automatic promotion again. But as I mentioned in the intro, obviously we've got a lot of players who we need to start worrying about. Ben Barkley, there you go, there's an example. He might be about to depart, which would be troublesome but not a disaster. But if we have a look at when these players signed, the majority of them were in early July. So if the 6-month rule is a real thing, it's the 26th of December now, then some of the better ones, like Smith, for example, 6th of July, 6 months is up on the 6th of January. It's soon, and I'm scared. But first, let's just carry on winning football matches. And this is the team we're putting out there to try and do that. First up against Staines, we've got Daniels in goal, a back four of Rowe, Barkley, Wiggett and Fossey, Smith and Liddle in midfield. Liddle, by the way, has solved the central midfielder problem that we had alongside Smith. And he's come in and putting in some cracking performances, averaging a 7.42 so far. In fact, a 7.6 in the league, a 7.42 in all competitions. 4 goals from 12 appearances, getting some assists in there as well. Been taking the penalties. He's missed 2 of the 5 he's taken, but still, you know, he's taking them, which is nice. So he's been an important signing in the midfield there. We had a bit of a gap alongside Smith, and now we definitely do not. Tommy Rowe, as the other option, has been great as well, and has scored a couple of stunning free kicks that I'm sure we'll see at least one of them at the end of the season for goal of the season. And we've got Garcia and Lee out wide and Plange and McKendy up front. That's right, Hector Ingram not starting every game anymore, and it's mainly to do with the fact that as we knew this time would come, look at the amount of games we've had to play in December. We're literally going midweek Saturday all month. We've got 4 very good strikers. For the first time all year, they're all fit. So we're just rotating them around. McKendy is going to be up front today. Garcia's been up there a bit. Hector Ingram's been in. He's been out on the wing. Everyone's kind of, I would say the 5, if we include Lee as well, the 5 of our top scoring attacking players are all just kind of rotating into these 4 positions, and they take it in turns having a day off. And today is Hector Ingram's day off. Let's get into this game. It's one of our games in hand, so a win here brings, or any result here. If we play this match, we only have 2 games in hand, but if we win it as well, I believe that puts us 11 points clear. But as you can see, Staines are actually the team in form closest to ours. So, in fact, they're first, we're second for form, so they're actually doing even better than we are, which is interesting. I want you to pick up where you left off last time out, because regardless of that, we have been playing very well. Staines are up in 4th place. I wonder if they'll fancy their chances a little bit today. It's another good yardstick of how we compare to the rest of the division. If a team that's been playing as well as Staines have, if we give them a proper spanking today, then we know we're guaranteed promotion. I'm going to call it here. If we beat Staines comfortably today, we're guaranteed to go up as champions. It's pretty likely. Anyway, the ball falls to Garcia in the area. He runs the wrong way. Rowe then passes it the wrong way. Smith and Liddle between them get the ball moving back in the right direction again. And Rafael Garcia has just scored a worldie. His 11th goal of the season from the edge of the area. He's spent a lot of this season injured, but when he's been in the team, he's been doing stuff like this. And this goal is silly. it shouldn't be possible for a tier 8 player to score that goal. It's insane. I haven't actually checked what his level can be considered to be. Only National League. So I know we've got a lot of players who should be able to slot straight into Football League teams. Garcia, not necessarily in that group yet, although he is young. He's got lots of potential and obviously a lot of talent to be able to score some of the goals that he's been scoring this year. And hopefully is one that will grow with us if he sticks around. We still haven't worked out a way to offer proper contracts despite being semi-pro. Please help me. Answers on a postcard. Although, to be fair, I'm on a social media, not cleanse. I'm off social media this month, so I've not actually been looking. So perhaps someone has already given me the answer. If anyone knows how to offer proper contracts, can you email me? My email address is on my Twitter. From February, I can start using social media properly again. But it's for a video on my vlog channel. If you haven't watched the vlog, there's a link in the description. It's good. It's a lot of fun. But we're not talking about the vlog today. What we are doing is trying to beat Staines. And we're doing really rather well at it because we've had 65% possession. They've not had a shot yet. And I feel like it's probably time for us to grab a second goal. 20 minutes in, Staines are actually having a rare bit of attacking football. They're in here, in fact, and they've scored their first shot of the game, and they've scored it. Maybe we do need to take this lot seriously. We knew they were in good form coming into the game, and it's not very often this season, even when we've been playing against opposition from higher divisions, it's not a regular occurrence for us to be pegged back after we've taken the lead. So we need to show a little bit of character here and go back up the other end and score 3 goals to punish them for being so arrogant as to score against us. And Luke Plange gets the first one of the 2 or 3 for the punishment that we've just discussed. A 29th goal of the season for him. Unbelievably, not our top goal scorer. But he's been, I think Carty left on the 1st of January last year and had 31 goals at that point. We could conceivably have Plange and Hector Ingram with higher totals than that, with Lee and McKendy probably both in the 20s, and Garcia catching up after missing a lot of time through injury. So we must be setting records for goals scored this season. Plange now hits the outside of the post from the edge of the area. It was an audacious effort and unfortunately not rewarded with a bulging net. But let's do our team talk. Don't let performance levels drop. They are a tougher opposition than we played for a little while, so we will have to just watch against complacency. We can't expect to go and trot off and win the game in this second half if we don't remain fully focused on it. Garcia plays it back to Smith into Liddle back to Smith again, and then Liddle looking for options ahead of him, finds Garcia with a lovely little pass. Garcia tucks it back to Plange, whose shot goes into the defender. Liddle shoots from the edge of the area and it goes just over. We still apparently don't put anybody in this seating behind the goal, which still baffles me. If I was a Bourne fan, which of course I am, not that they've got a lovely all-seat stand behind the goal, because they haven't, but if they did, you can be sure that's where I'd be, rather than standing in the cold over here. What's the thinking behind all this lot being over here when they can come over here and have a sit down? Lee's in here, finds Plange, it deflects off the defender and McKendy turns it just wide. We're having, it's suddenly turning into a prototype Bourne game, this one. We're utterly dominating, having loads of possession, loads of shots, creating loads of very good chances, but just not scoring the goals. We're going to bring on Hector Ingram for McKendy. Get him into his natural poacher position to give him a chance to continue competing with Plange for top goal scorer. Lee can come off as well. We've got Dom Tier who can come on and play on the right hand side, which he rarely gets to do. We normally end up playing him on the left because obviously we've got Lee who plays on that right hand side. But with Tommy Rowe emerging as a good option both at left back and the left wing, Tez having a lot more time playing on that right-hand side now, and there is Hector Ingram. There is his 31st goal of the season, which does draw him level with Connor Carty's total when he left, and there's still at least 1, possibly 2 games left before we hit the anniversary of his departure, so I think that officially confirms Jamal Hector Ingram, best striker we've had at Bourne. Got to be better. They're both better than Mata, surely, because as good as Mata was, I think he only got 30 goals over the course of the season. We thought it was ridiculous at the time, but in the context of what's happened since then, it was actually a fairly normal level of goals for the striker in a team that was doing very well. I made that final substitution just as I noticed just before I noticed Garcia's picked up a knock. I hope that's not going to be one that rules him out for game time again, because he's already missed a lot of games this year. Starting to feel Garcia, as talented as he might just be a smidgen too injury prone. And I do have previous for if players get properly injured, just not even letting them take their kit home to wash. Just get out. You're done. Right, Hector Ingram beats his man on this right-hand side, looking to go it alone. He had options in the middle. Probably shouldn't have been so selfish there. Luckily, I mean, we're 3-1 up. We've pretty much already won the match. But sometimes these players need to be a little less selfish and a little bit more for the team. Although I guess a team that's created 11 good chances in a match, probably you can understand why they're not into creating too many chances, when 9 times out of 10, or specifically 8 times out of 11, the chances that are created don't actually end up in the back of the net, despite the fact we've got these players who've scored an extraordinary number of goals. I think a lot of this is the match engine stopping us winning every game 15-0, because I think the players are so overpowered for this level that we probably would, if it wasn't for the fact that it's deliberately skewing some of our shots wide just to try and keep some of the numbers realistic. It becomes silly if your top scorer is on 80 goals by Christmas, which we probably could be if we were converting every chance we created, not scored. That's the problem. We don't score them. Right, we won. That's the important thing. 11 points clear at the top of the league now. We move on to the next game, which is against Brightlingsea. And hopefully don't get any offers for any of our players. Garcia just out for a couple of days. His mum can wash his kit after all. Well, I warned you it was coming. Ben Barkley is gone. £1,600 a week he's going to be earning at Fylde to play in the National League. He's already played for them as well. That's ridiculous because he played for us yesterday. But yeah, you can't blame him, really. He was playing in League One last year. In fact, look, he was on loan at Fylde. He had a full season on loan at Fylde. Why they didn't sign him at that point, I don't know. But they've let him potter around with us and then eventually have gone back in for him, and he's just gone straight back into their team. And thank you, Ben. But yeah, we're pretty low on centre-backs at this point. I don't think we have anyone in the way of backups at that level. We might have to sign Edon Prutty just because we need players. Oh, he's only here. He's on trial from Barnsley. I don't think we could get him on loan. I think I tried this last night. Yeah, they don't want him to come to us. Higher quality players. Smith would get into the Barnsley team. In the context of the 6-month rule as well, it's worth noting Ben Barkley signed for us all the way back in April. We signed him so early in the summer that he actually classed as a signing for last season. So first in, first out of this latest bunch. So that would mean the next batch that are in danger are all these ones who came in right at the start of July, that include McKendy, include Lee, Plange, Bellawain, another centre back, Garcia, Smith. We might have a little bit longer with Hector Ingram. It's a problem. We've got some centre-backs coming in on trial there. I've asked my director of football for 3 centre-back options, and here they all are. So hopefully at least one of them is going to be any good, because we need a defender. I mean, they're all right. I'll decide which one I like the look of and bring one in. Slight problem, we've not been able to agree terms with either of the first 2. They wanted too much money, so we might not be able to bring any of them in. Oh, this is a problem. Okay. We're not signing any of them. Right, it seems like this is another game in hand, which seems mad. Is the rest of the division just not playing over Christmas? Did I get like a win? So the rest of the division, the last time they played was the 18th of December. There was one fixture that day, and then it's just us playing catch-up. So we played on the 21st, the 26th. Everyone else has got Christmas off, apart from us. There's a few back New Year's Day, including us. Us again. When do we... So it's almost a month between a full set of fixtures. Why is that? Why is there a winter break in the Isthmian South Central Division? And why didn't we get it? I've made a couple of changes for this game, mainly enforced by injuries and players leaving. So Hector Ingram comes back in up front. McKendy goes out to the left-hand side, so Garcia can drop out of the team with injury. Dice comes in for Rowe at left-back. Fossey comes in at right-back. Beloane comes in at centre-back. We are very low on players. Very low on players. So we could definitely do with a defender coming in, which hopefully we should have at least a couple in before the next episode, because we really need some, because the last thing we want to do is just run out of players. I started the episode worrying that a few more would leave, just because we didn't want our best players to leave, but I'm actually starting to worry that we might run out of players. I've not really been siding them at the rate I normally would this season, mainly probably because of Smith being at the team. It's difficult to find any that look like they're of the right standard. And we saw it with those defenders I was just negotiating deals with there, because Tom Davis, for example, who I had at Bristol Rovers in non-league to legend, that shows the level he should be at. He would have come in as the best player, as the best defender at the club, according to the team report. But because I was just rushing, because I was doing a video and didn't actually think about what I was doing, I just left the contract negotiation stuff as it was. So we were negotiating with him as if he would be a fringe player, because in comparison to someone the quality of Smith, he is a fringe player. He's nowhere near that level. But as a defender, he'd be the best at the club by miles. So he's not going to be a fringe player. He would be a nailed-on regular starter. But because he was a fringe player, the most I could offer him was like £350 a match. He wanted 500 or so. We have players at the club earning that, but they're our star players. If we'd have just upped him to star player status, then we probably could have offered him star player money and got him in. But I didn't think of that until afterwards, when I was wondering where it all went wrong. Right, we've lost another player to injury. Fossey now has hurt his foot, bless his cotton socks. We don't have anyone who can come on and play right back. So I guess we'll go with what the assistant manager says and put Tommy Rowe there, who, I mean, he'll be all right. He can play left back. I'm sure he can play right back too. He's a midfielder, but never mind, eh? I guess if we had another centre back, we could just go to 3 at the back and forget about having right backs altogether. Play Lee as a wing back. But alas, we don't have that either. Right, Rowe taking a corner. At least with Rowe on the pitch in some capacity, it means he can take the set pieces, which he is very, very good at. They've got Ted Can in goal, who obviously we deemed not good enough. I assume that's Ted Can, and there's not another goalkeeper at this level called Can. But we obviously decided 3 or 4 goalkeepers ago that he wasn't good enough for us in the division below. So quite interesting to see him resurface playing for a mid-table team at this level. And I'm sure he's going to want to have a bit of a point to prove against us today as well. Hopefully, he'll fail miserably in proving said point. We've already scored against him once, and hopefully we're in again here. Hector Ingram forces the save out of Can, and we win a corner. And I presume Rowe's going to go over to take it, because, like I say, he's very good at taking the set pieces. That is not a good example of what I was describing. I mean, I shouldn't have said anything. What was that? Right. Brightlingsea coming down our right-hand side. It's intercepted nicely by Liddell, though Lee tries to release Hector Ingram, who's a long way from goal with a lot of work to do, but trying to turn his man inside out. Cheeky little back heel to Rowe, who crosses. I mean, that's not a bad cross on his weak foot from that far away. It was pretty much landing on the penalty spot, so you can't argue with that too much. He tries another one with his good. Has he swapped feet or something? Oh, I'm playing at right back. I'm going to swap my feet over, because all of a sudden he can hit right-footed crosses, but he can't do a left-footed corner and can't do a deep pass on his left foot either. I think that man swapped his feet over. It's the only explanation for what's happening currently. Right, they're coming at us again here. There's been more highlights starting with Brightlingsea attacks than our attacks at the moment. We're only 1-0 up. They're actually beating us for possession. We need to be a little bit careful that we don't mess this one up. I know we're well clear at the top of the league, but this is another one of our games in hand, and we don't want to be giving anyone else the opportunity to find a way back into things. I mean, even as things stand now, 14 points clear. This time, much better from Rowe. He's swapped his feet back over again, and we go 2-0 up. It's gone down as an own goal from their left midfielder. I think that's a little harsh on whoever it was who got on the end of it, because it looked like a Bourne shirt nodding this in. Rowe crosses into Hector Ingram. I think Taylor's, their defender, is going to agree with us there that was over the line from the Hector Ingram header. And his terrible clearance into the inside of the post that led to a goal isn't going to be an own goal. We'll let that stand as a Charlie, not a Charlie, I just saw the word Charlie appear there, as a Hector Ingram goal. Rowe now with a free kick, edge of the area. I told you he could do that. They're down to 10 men and Tommy Rowe's just scored. I think that's his third absolute screamer of a free kick since he's been with us. He can definitely hit a decent free kick, and poor old Ted Can wants to go home. I'm happy in light of the amount of football we've played and how tired our team are getting and how many injuries we're accumulating. I would be up for just calling this off at half time and declaring us winners if Brightlingsea are on board with that. So let's face it, things are only going to get worse for them at this point. They're down to 10 men. We're already 3-0 up. Let's just agree that it's 3-0. We're in Tier 8. If we send 3-0 as the scorecard through to the league, they ain't gonna investigate. We better check match of the day to see if they played the second half. If we all just agree that we played the second half, we've got one fan here. They've only got 44 fans and they're getting thumped. They'd be happier at home. Our one fan, he can have his money back, and we'll just call the game off at half time. Sometimes, as much as a lovely simulation Football Manager is, it doesn't let us simulate the way we'd really like to do things. That should be in the game as an option. Someone submit that as an idea for the next version of the game. Smith now plays Rowe in. That's a lovely pass. Rowe brings it onto his good left foot. Now he's swapped his feet back again. Decent in-swinging cross. Nothing comes of it, but we win the ball back almost immediately, and it's McKendy now coming down the left-hand side. McKendy, deep cross, finds Plange, and then Hector Ingram gets goal number 33, still before the anniversary of Conor Carty leaving. Jamal Hector Ingram just confirming best striker in the history of Bourne Town Football Club. He could be, if he sticks around for the season, he'll set a record that will never be beaten. I will put that out there now, because the further up the leagues we go, the less likely we are to have players who are scoring 40 or 50 goals a season, I would suggest. And if he gets anywhere near if he's here till the end of the season, he's going to get 50 goals. I don't see there's any way that doesn't happen based on how well he's been playing so far. We've made our final 2 substitutions there, bringing on a couple more wingers. I don't know that you've seen anything of Kaleba yet. We signed him back in the summer, and he spent most of the season so far in our under-23s. But as players have started to depart, he's kind of drifted up into the first team squad. I don't really understand my own thought process in bringing him in. There was a couple of them I brought in the summer who had lots of potential but weren't good enough for the team yet. And thinking about it with a more logical brain, what's the point in bringing him in? Because if they turn up any good, someone's just going to sign them. So there's no opportunity to make a profit with them. There's not really anything in it for us. I guess we're not paying him because he's paid per appearance, but he's hogging wage budget space and not really doing anything. But he might end up being awesome in this second half of the season. But like I say, if he does, he'll have already been here 6 months before he starts being awesome. We'll get 3 games out of him before he goes to play in the conference. So, moral of the tale, don't sign young players. Young players are fine as long as they're good enough to go straight into the team. Don't mess around bringing in players who might get good as the season goes on, because there's no point. Wiggett now to Rowe. Rowe charging through the middle now. He's given up playing right back altogether. He's gone back to midfield. And Hector Ingram, it's not fair that he's in our team. It is not fair on the opposition, because their goalkeeper, Ted Can, we're familiar with his work, had no idea what to do here. And remember, he was an overpowered goalkeeper when we signed him, but what's he supposed to do there? He knows the defenders aren't tackling Hector Ingram. He knows he's not going to save it if he lets him shoot, and he sort of hid behind the defender to make it, well, if no one can see that I'm here in goal, I might not get criticised for not saving it. That seemed like the thought process. Tommy Rowe using his right foot again. I thought we'd spoken about that. Unnecessary. I've just noticed today, for the first time in a long time, we've actually scored more goals than we created clear-cut chances. Just the 3 clear-cut chances, and we scored 5 goals in a dominant 5-0 victory. Excellent stuff. And Marlon Fossey is going to be out for ages. and we have now officially got fewer than 4 fit defenders at the club. So we probably need to dip into the transfer market before the next episode. We definitely will anyway, because I imagine there's going to be players leaving. Right, the job from here, we'll do 2 more episodes this season, I think, unless one of these or both of these cups get super interesting. I'm not going to show you Dagenham and Redbridge. We've shown us playing against conference sides plenty of times before. I think that's less interesting at this point than it probably could be. We'll come back somewhere around here, hopefully for an interesting FA Trophy game and a league match, and then just show you the end of the season and move onwards and upwards from there. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.